What is up, guys? Toss a coin here, and today I would like to cover the best weapon for each biome. I'm going to give the general weapon class and the desired weapon to be using in the biome. But before we get any further, if you like the content I create, please like and subscribe. I could really use the dopamine rush that those numbers give me. So let's get right into it. First up is the Meadows biome. This is by far the easiest biome, where possibly the strongest enemy is the trees. Jokes aside, any weapon will work in this biome. If I was forced to choose, I would go with the flint spear for several reasons. It is cheap to craft, it makes hunting significantly easier. You could say that the crude bow is better for hunting, but I hate the drop in accuracy on it. The flint spear is much more consistent once you learn the trajectory of it. Not to mention, all of the leather scraps you save on the spear versus the crude bow. Those leather scraps can go towards your tanning rack to upgrade your workbench sooner. Lastly, trolls. An upgraded flint spear with an upgraded wooden shield is your best bet in DPS against the trolls of the Black Forest when you are fresh coming out of the Meadows. An honorable mention would be the finewood bow, because you can get into Meadows by using a troll to chop the trees, or just hitting birch trees with another tree to break it down. The finewood bow doesn't get picked though, just because a flint spear in the hands of a decent player will kill a troll so much faster. The Black Forest biome can be quite a difficulty bump for some players depending on if you are ready to fight trolls or not. The constant swarms of grey dwarfs can also make it very difficult to get a foothold in the forest. However, the dwarves become trivial as soon as you start to upgrade your armor to troll armor. The best weapon for this biome would be the Abyssal Razor. The copper dagger is a good second place if you can't find a leviathan to make the Abyssal Razor. The dagger just has so much burst damage and completely tears trolls apart. The flint spear was pretty decent DPS against trolls, but the daggers, especially the Abyssal Razor, make fighting those big blue guys much easier. I would like to also add that the Abyssal Razor is probably the best early game weapon in Valheim, so there's that. An honorable mention would be the torch, just because it can scare away grey dwarfs when they are in smaller numbers. Next is the first real challenge of Valheim, the swamp. This place sucks. Water is everywhere, you're always wet, poison damage galore, and everything is kinda tough once you first get here. There's only one weapon I can truly recommend for this biome, and that would be the iron mace, or just maces in general. The only mob that resists a mace in this biome is the abominations, but we should have an axe to deal with them anyways. The iron mace is essential in this biome mainly because it makes bone mass a cakewalk. He is resistant to slash, very resistant to pierce, and weak to blunt. This clearly makes a mace the only weapon you would want to take against him. Next, we have the mountains. The mountains are only difficult if you aren't prepared for them. The finewood bow should be able to keep you safe in this biome until you are able to craft your Drauggr's Fang. This is the first biome where a bow could be considered mandatory. I guess you could get by with a spear, but all it takes is one missed throw for your mountain experience to take a terrible turn. The bow makes this biome much easier. You can sneak attack the wolves for one-shots, the wyverns can be taken out in 2 hits with flame arrows, and the stone golems can easily be walked away from. Honestly, I think the golems are kinda a waste of time unless you really want their trophy. So for this biome, finewood bow, and then Drauggr's Fang as soon as you get it. Also, the bow helps kill a lot of the downtime in the Modder boss fight since you can shoot back while Modder is flying. Finally, we have a biome that lets multiple playstyles flourish. The plains is my favorite biome and some of my favorite fights happen here. Just about every weapon can be used effectively, and they are all viable, but one weapon stands above the rest. The Atgear, more specifically the black metal Atgear. The special attack of the Atgear staggers almost all enemies instantly, and it takes advantage of all the open space of the plains. Whether you are stun locking locks or sweeping away gangs of fullings, the Atgear has got you covered. An honorable mention would maybe be Frostner for the CC it provides to solos, but I think the Atgear is just a much stronger tool and takes advantage of the fact that locks do not resist the pierce damage. Also, it makes a good farming implement for clearing out your flax and barley fields quicker. Lastly, we have the Mistlands biome, where we had many new weapons added. This biome has a couple things to consider before declaring a best weapon. Firstly, the terrain is very mountainous. There's fog everywhere, and most enemies resist pierce, slash, and blunt damage. The bow is only useful for fighting off y'all, but the spear honestly kills them better. Also, due to the fog, range isn't the most effective strat majority of the time. The magic is a nice playstyle change, but it doesn't feel like it has the same burst to it that melee has. It requires you to give up health and stamina in favor of either. Magic can be effective in this biome if it is your jam, but I still think the good old melee is better for raw DPS in most situations. For that reason, I would say Frostner is probably the best weapon to enter the Mistlands with due to its frost damage, which bypasses most of the mob's defenses, but as soon as you can, I would upgrade to the Mistwalker. The Mistwalker is basically just a better sword version of Frostner. I think Mistwalker is better than your other options due to the ability to pair it with a shield. The frost damage it provides and the slow to CC enemies is really useful in this biome. The Heman Apple is a close second, but it gets kind of rough using it in the close quarters of the infested mines. For the reasons I've stated above, I'd probably say the best weapon to use in the Mistlands would have to be the Mistwalker. In conclusion, I think these are the weapons that make the current stage of the game you're in much easier. Each biome has certain weapons and playstyles that are more successful than others, and that makes sense. If you want to try something new, or maybe are having a rough time, then maybe this was the video for you. However, I do recognize that a high skill level in a weapon can make a weapon perform decently in suboptimal conditions. So if you want to just be that mace guy, or that bow guy, go for it. I hope my breakdown of the weapons for these biomes helps you guys out. If you have any ideas you would like me to test out, let me know. And as always guys, see you next time.